All right, episode 31.
Episode 31.
It's an exciting one. I thought this was going to be boring, but I think we did a pretty good job taking a very boring topic and making it...
I'm on board with that.
Making it Liddy, as the kids say.
Liddy.
Yeah, Liddy. We're talking about... Not Liddy. We're talking about TRESA. The Trust in Real Estate Services Act. It's a new it's a new legislation that's coming out that us realtors are going to have to follow. It takes effect December 1st, and there's some pretty big changes happening in it.
That affects specifically, buyers and sellers.
The way we buy and sell real estate in Toronto. Yeah. The biggest one is going to be the way we handle bidding wars.
That's right.
So enjoy this episode. Oh, we also got a dog.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have a dog. I'm watching a dog. I'm watching my dad's dog.
Chloe is here.
Chloe's here this week.
Yeah.
Cool. Enjoy.
Thanks. Welcome to the Toronto Livings Podcast, a conversation about all things Toronto with a focus on real estate, the culture, and of course, the food.
I'm Mark Savel.
And I'm Joey Virgilio.
And we're realtors with Sage Real Estate working together as a Toronto Livings team with a focus on helping you buy better, sell higher, and of course, having a little bit of fun along the way. Hello, Joey.
Hello, Mark.
How are you, my 32-year-old friend?
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
It's been a big week for you.
It has been.
We have a dog walking around here today, so
let's say hello to Chloe as well.
Hi, Chloe.
Hi, Chloe.
Yeah, she's just doing her own thing. Got a little bit of a response from her.
Yeah.
Aw, she doesn't like podcasting. You're never gonna make it in the bright lights, girl. Yeah, I'm watching her this week. My mom and dad took a trip for their 40th wedding anniversary.
40th wedding anniversary.
40 years of marital bliss. Is that what you say?
Marital.
Thank you. Again, co-host of the year. Appreciate that. But let's get into it. How was your week, man?
Week was good. Birthday week, man.
Birthday month.
Birthday month. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take the whole month.
You
Why
deserve
not?
it. Yeah,
why
32.
not? 32. Yeah, went
Nice.
to so Palma Pasta did end up happening, by the way.
Awesome.
Always delicious.
Yeah.
So I'll just one more shout out to Palma Pasta because I only finished eating the leftovers like a couple days ago. So
favorite item that you ordered?
Chicken parm.
Chicken parm. Okay. You're loyal. I like that.
All
You said
day
that
long.
last episode and you're sticking with it.
That's it, man.
Okay. Did you have your mayo and tomato?
100%. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
I got called out for it, but you know what? I'm sticking to the guns, man.
No, I respect that. It says something when a man doesn't change his mind, when everyone's like, dude, stop eating that. That's disgusting. So I appreciate that.
Yes, that and also went on Monday, the actual birthday.
Yeah.
Smoke and Bone.
Yeah, tell me about that. I saw on Instagram, you and your partner Molly, you guys went, where's that place?
Molly took me to Smoke and Bone, which is on Baldwin, 30 Baldwin. So just behind like Mount Sinai Hospital, pretty much.
Okay.
It is this like really cool strip that you wouldn't expect to be where it is. And it's like Southern barbecue. It is like, this is going to be on when I create Joe's top list, this one's absolutely it.
Right up there, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. It's, everything is extremely rich and like very well made.
Okay.
And it's just like, it's like mouth watering. The go-tos, let me pop up my thing here for a second.
Please. What's the Joey go-to at Smoke and Bone?
I gotta give, so the number one shout I'm gonna give is the mac and cheese.
Okay.
They do a insane mac and cheese. We did a pulled pork mac and cheese.
Nice.
Had I gone back, I probably would have just went straight traditional because they do it so damn well.
Nice.
And actually, let me pull this up. The ribs were also on point.
Okay.
The short ribs.
Now, were they...
Or pork side ribs, sorry.
Were they smoked?
Yeah.
Okay.
So smoked pork side ribs with a smoked old fashioned. I went all out.
Nice.
And then the beef brisket. The
Say that 3 times fast.
but I got to shout out also the coleslaw was like insanity.
Oh.
They do like fresh coleslaw with like, I guess they must put fresh dill in it as well. And like just how that flavor cut with all the rich like smoked meat. It's just insane.
Were you a vinaigrette coleslaw guy or a creamy coleslaw guy?
Creamy.
Creamy? Yeah. There's 2 different camps.
Creamy all day.
I fall into creamy as well. But sorry, Chloe's going nuts. You keep tell the people about Smoke and Bone. I'm gonna get a bone.
Yeah. Okay. That's the Smoke and Bone. So Smoke and Bone on Baldwin, 30 Baldwin. Shout out. That was the birthday dinner, and then Molly ended up surprising me. Here we go.
Yeah. Get her nice and comfy. Come on, sweetie. Good. There you go.
There it is.
Nah, see, Just need a little bit of love. So did you know you were going there, or you just kind of randomly?
No, Smoke and Bone I did.
Okay.
And then she ended up surprising me with the Leafs game at the end.
Nice.
Which ended up being the perfect Leafs game to go to.
That was the high scoring one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which also kind of a similar thing happened recently. But yesterday night was the same kind of gameplay. But like, yeah, down 4-1 in the first period, got ahead in the second period, and then tied up 2 minutes left, and then they win in overtime.
Wow.
So it was like the perfect arc of a Leafs game.
Yeah. And you got there, like you saw the whole thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. We made it like, you know, I think we missed the first like 5 minutes.
I see. You're not a real fan.
Yeah.
No, you gotta, man, I'm big on that. Did you stay to the end? Yeah. You must
Of course.
shoot
Yeah.
out. Yeah. Cool.
Molly unfortunately went to the bathroom at the worst time. She went in the little break between overtime, between last period and overtime, and she missed the last goal.
Rookie mistake, girl. Rookie mistake.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And did you get any gifts from parents, friends, families?
Just a lot of love.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Over 30, do you really like what can you really get someone?
That's exactly it. Molly got me like a little setup for the vacation we're going to be going on.
Oh, good.
So you know,
what does that mean? A little setup?
She got aloe vera because I always get sunburned every time we go. Because I'm always like, I got dark skin. This is no problem. I got this, and then I always get burnt.
Not surprised.
Yeah, and then a pink swimsuit. So I'm going out with a pink swimsuit.
Is it a short short?
Listen, Bahama. No, they're not. Luckily, they're not short shorts.
Is it European?
No, they're just regular old, but they're pink, and I'm gonna have a pink Bahama Mama in hand. I'm a different person when I'm down there.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time discussing banana mamas this week. Bahama mamas. I still mess it up. So you're going to Mexico soon.
Yeah, 22nd.
22nd.
Yeah.
So I want you to report back on the top 3 drinks in Mexico that you've had.
Yep.
And I also advise you to try
a drink that is an elevated mojito, and it's called.
Let's hear you say it.
Oh, this is going to be. I can't even remember it. It's called the casahuera.
Casahuera, no. No casahuera. That's going to get you end up in jail. I don't even know what that word means, but carapainha.
It was not bad.
I think it's a Brazilian drink, to be fair. I don't think it's
Carapainha.
Carapainha.
Yeah. Okay.
So you got to try the carapainhas. I didn't eat out that much this week, but we did go to the Sage anniversary party.
We did, yeah. At Areta.
Which I think we were erroneously. We were invited by mistake.
Oh, right.
Because I don't think it was my anniversary in November, but
no, it was. I was the quarter 4.
But you're, I guess you are.
Yeah,
I guess you are. Okay,
yeah.
so
I guess September or like that late.
Yeah,
I think it's mid or late September, whenever that was.
Gets you into the Q4 dinner.
Yeah. So we hit it twice this year.
We hit it. Well, yeah. Hopefully, no one from Sage is listening to this because we'll probably get uninvited next year twice, which would suck. But no, it was a great time. We went to Areta. We saw the whole gang up there, and it's there so little business was talked about, and I love that.
Yeah, same here.
Because usually, like in the real estate circle of things, it's always like, "How's your week?" and "How's your making?" And it was none of that. Like it was just pure like unwinding, which was fun. Yeah. So shout out to Areta. I had a good time there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then after, you actually witnessed a crime.
I did.
You definitely did.
Wait, what did I witness?
You witnessed Uber apply prejudice to me and not pick me up. Oh, that's the crime. So I had a theory, if you may, a conspiracy that I'm a little bit blacklisted from the Uber pickups because it always takes like 15 to 20 minutes for someone to come get me in like the most common places. Like we're at Yonge and Eglinton.
Yeah,
this guy came from like Dufferin. He actually went north. Went up to Wilson, did a detour, and came down. I waited like 25 minutes. And I was like, I just got to start ordering orange cabs. Like, this is ridiculous.
They're hearing the podcast and like,
you know what? Let's blacklist this guy. Right. Yeah. Probably not true, but I'm going to stick to that story.
Yeah.
Alrighty. We got a very, I feel like it's going to be a boring one this week, what we're talking about, but it's so necessary.
It is because there's big changes happening.
There's big changes happening.
And it does affect not just realtors. It affects clients. Like this is how we do business.
Yeah.
So it is big changes and it does need to be talked about.
We're going to get into it, but let's start with some news you can use.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You remember the?
Oh, yeah.
You remember the?
No,
it's a show note you made. I appreciate that. All right, Joey.
All right, ready? News you can use. I think we got it down pat.
Yeah, it's pretty clean.
It's pretty safe.
Yeah, I like that. West Bank. We've got another story of a developer getting sued this week. West Bank, who's no small developer, they've built a Shangri-La. They've done a ton of awesome projects in Vancouver, like really architecturally forward projects. They also did, or they're working on Big on King, which is going to be very iconic for the city. We hope, because he's getting sued. Well, the company is getting sued. Apparently 4 companies, including Elliston, which is a massive builder in the city, is suing West Bank for more than $25 million in unpaid work. Ooh. Yeah. The full story was behind a paywall, so I don't have the finer details of it. But I did go on Reddit. I love the honesty, though. No, I went on Reddit because they usually will have someone who will leak like the major stories behind it.
Yeah. So okay. Oh, there you go. You got your ways.
That's part of my budget, man. That's why I'm wearing the fancy shirts today.
I didn't comment on that too. Yeah. Looking sharp today.
I'm actually working on a Saturday, so that's why I'm wearing a fancy shirt. So they're getting sued, and this is just another, I think, reflection of the economy we're in and the kind of stories we're hearing. It sounds like this is kind of very early stages, and they've got a plan to kind of resuscitate it and not, make this project go sideways, because this is a very unique project. This is the old Honest Ed's site.
Right.
So I think it's like 6 or 7 rental towers that they're building there. And they've come along, like they're up, right? They're almost nearing completion from what I can see on the ground. So let's hope this one pushes
through the finish line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got one.
Yeah.
I've got an interesting one. And I'm specifically talking about this because it's Toronto Public Library is based again. And for some reason, they're just under attack.
Okay.
So
what do they do now? What's going on with
so Toronto, library? So they've been targeted for a cyber attack.
Bedbugs last week.
Bedbugs last week. This week, we're talking like, if you have your data inside of a Toronto Public Library, just stay tuned, because you might have been.
But what do they actually have on you?
I guess your name, the number of your library card,
and your cell phone number.
Probably a very old address.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, you can hack me on that. I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah.
Well, do you have a library card?
I did. I don't think I have one anymore.
So I do. You have to renew it every year.
Do you?
You have to go in and renew it.
Okay, so I don't then. Absolutely not.
Yeah, you're probably still in the system. But I mean, what are they really going to take from you? Like, what books Joey's rented?
Yeah. What
would be the top 3 books Joey has rented, actually, now that we're on it?
Well,
from the library.
From when it actually took place?
Yeah.
Let me see. Captain Underpants.
Okay. Are you a big fan of Captain Underpants?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah. Before I knew what the word George was, I used to pronounce it Georg as I read it. So
why am I not surprised? Chloe's getting worked up. Poor thing. Okay, so that's number 1. What are your other 2 books? Wait, how would you pronounce Curious George? Like the story about monkeys, Curious Gorge?
It was like one of the first books I read. So
okay.
I heard the word Curious George before, but when I never saw it.
Okay, all right. Well, that's I'm learning something new about you every week.
No, the other 2 books would have just been like Where's Waldo and something else in that realm.
Yeah, and back in my day, you could actually rent toys from the library.
What?
Yeah,
like toy blocks and things like that.
Like a fire truck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would rent a fire truck for 2 weeks and then I have to return it. Yeah. Chloe's crying. Chloe, come here, sweetie. Come here, sweetie. Someone just left the office and she's very emotional. She's got separation anxiety. Yeah. She thinks everyone's my dad, and the second she sees like a large figure, she gets so excited. We used to rent that. You could rent DVDs.
Yeah.
But now I use it you could actually have a really good app online where you could rent books.
Oh,
like from your iPad.
So do you need a library card for that? Yeah. So I heard about this.
Yeah.
And then I canceled my Audible, but I haven't got the library card yet. So
it's not the greatest system. You still have to wait, which I think is kind of weird. Yeah. Like you think it's a digital book. There should be unlimited copies, but I'm sure there's some arrangement they have with
like licensing.
Yeah, something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, something way over our skill set. But something super exciting. We were ranked the top 248th podcast in the last 30 days on Apple Music under the category of entrepreneurship. You and me, buddy. You and me. We made it.
I love that. They just kept, the parameters kept continuing down
the asterisk that came with this statement that some guy named Carlos from Pod Status sent me. I was like, so my wife brought up a good question. She's like, so how many podcasts are there? I'm like, I have to pay $5 to find out that answer, because then they get you on a monthly subscription.
Oh, okay.
So, sorry, let me just get her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chloe, come here. Come on, sweetie. Come on. The live world of podcasting.
Yeah.
Come. There you go. We're ranked 248.
Look at that.
Probably out of like 249. But I'll take it.
Hey, we're top 250, man.
We're top 250. Yeah. I was proud of that. And like, I made a joke about it, and some people thought I was serious, and they're like, congrats, man. That's a huge accomplishment. I'm like, what? You're so far off. Like, God, Damn it. How do I become rich from podcasting? The journey continues.
Yeah.
You did a lease this week?
I did. Yeah. We wrapped up a Treviso lease this week.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful Treviso.
Yeah.
Again, clarity, not northern Italy, but just Lawrence and Dufferin.
I've got like at least 25 people on my Instagram who followed me because I would hashtag Treviso when I was selling the Treviso property in Toronto. Yeah. So I got a whole crew of people from Treviso who are like, where is this project? How come we can't see it in our town of 800? And I'm like,
That's the trick to new followers, man. We should be taking Treviso and everything.
Yeah. I think you might be onto something there. Okay. So we're going to get into, well, let's do transition time.
Yeah.
So you're the sound, I'm the voice.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Transition time, mission time, mission time. Transition time, mission time. You're very good on the fly. I respect that, man. Cool. All right, so we're going to have the very boring but very important conversation of these massive changes that are going to truly affect the way we buy and sell real estate in Ontario.
Yeah, they're big changes.
They're big changes.
I think the last couple of years have really, I don't know, there's something that hit home with the fact that we need some change.
We need some change, yeah, 100%. And so it's November 11th today that we're recording this. Here's the crazy thing. These changes take effect in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
I'm only hearing about it, like kind of hearing about it, like this week.
It feels like this is coming like out of nowhere, even though they've been mentioning this for so long.
Yeah.
But December 1st seems like so fast.
Yeah.
So we got, and they're pretty major changes.
They're huge changes. Yeah. So there's a lot happening. We're only going to talk about the big three. They're going to affect people because a lot of them doesn't really concern majority of people. It's more the way we have to operate. But let's get into it. So what are we currently, let me get this dog settled up here. Let's talk about the three things we're going to be addressing.
All right. So we're talking about three major points. The three huge changes. So the first change we're going to go over. So prior to December 1st, we've been running under what is known as a REBA. And this is the Real Estate Business and Brokers Act.
2002.
2002.
I hate that part of it.
That's added in the name of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why. No one's been able to give me a straight answer, but it's, REBA, Real Estate Business and Brokers Act, 2002. I'm sure it was probably created in 2002, but tell the people what the new one's called.
So the new one is called TRESA. And actually, it's a way better name.
It's...
Okay. But then Real Estate Business Brokers Act 2002, which is way too much of a mouthful.
Yeah, like they could have dropped the 2002 and then like 2023.
Yeah. It is now called TRESA, which is the Trust in Real Estate Services Act.
Yeah, you're going to be hearing that a lot. I think the newspapers haven't really picked it up yet, but in the next couple of weeks, it's really going to be a thing that I think is going to be discussed.
Yeah.
And I don't like the name. Yeah, I'm just going to say that.
Oh, you don't like it?
I don't like it.
Yeah. You don't prefer it over REBA? Or are they just bad at naming these things?
They're bad at naming things, but I do prefer it over REBA. But I would have loved like, don't be shady and don't commit fraud act 2023. I think that would have really hit home and really accomplished a lot in the hearts and minds of buyers and sellers out there.
It's all about plain English, man.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the biggest thing that's changing because this will fundamentally address a lot of problems that we've had in real estate and hopefully kind of sort of fix them. I'm not also sold on this, but
we're going to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this. So in COVID or during the time of when inventory was as tight as humanly possible.
Yep.
There was a lot of complaints, and the biggest complaint that I always heard was, "Hey, what do we know where the other offers are at?"
Yeah, so we're talking about multiple offers and kind of buyers' experiences is going through it.
Thank you. Yeah, we're talking about buyer competition and when you start to compete.
Yeah.
And what happens is, as realtors, you're not allowed to disclose any of the contents of the offer, of any offers that come through, except for the amount of offers that have been on the table.
Yeah.
And if there's multiple representation, which we'll get into later. But that's pretty much all you can say. And
we're very limited in what we could have disclosed in those type of situations.
It's blind bidding. And, it's a huge complaint. And I absolutely understand why.
Yeah, everyone, for years, this has been going on my entire career in the business. Blind bids, it feels wrong. It looks wrong.
Yeah.
It probably smells wrong.
And you know what I'll add to it? I'll add to also, I feel like there's more of a chance of buyer's remorse when that happens because you don't know what that other offer was offering. So you leave feeling like you're happy that you got it, but at the same time, how much did I overpay?
Yeah.
And that's always the question mark. It kind of is unsettling.
Yeah. I bought my current place that I live in a bidding war. I obviously won, which means I pay the most, which means I kind of lost.
Yeah.
If you're looking from a negotiating standpoint, oh, now you want to come back, eh, sweetie pie? Eh, sweetie pie. Little Chloe's back with us. It's probably because we have this delicious coffee.
She's smelling it.
Yeah, she's smelling it. What do you think of TRESA, Chloe? No comment. That's a safe way to approach it. I like that. A lot of people were complaining about the blind bidding system because it wasn't really fair and transparent. I know I overpaid. I don't know how much the second place offer was on mine.
Yeah.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. There's ways we can go about doing it so you control how much you overpay. But as you said from the hop, it just is a bad feeling for everyone right across the board. Yep. So what is now happening?
So sellers are now allowed to opt into an open bidding system, which means they are allowed to choose whether or not they want to release that information to multiple offers if competition happens again.
Yeah. So let's run this scenario. So currently, as of Reba, I'm listing a place. You got a buyer. You come to the table. All I have to tell you as the listing agent, Joey, there's 5 offers. You tell me, well, what's it going to take to win it? And I'm going to say, Joey, I can't disclose that.
Yep.
And you're going to say, but come on, help me out here. Cut me a break. And I'm going to say, I'm sorry, unfortunately, because I don't want to end up in jail for breaking the Real Estate Business and Brokers Act 2002. I cannot disclose that to you.
That's right.
And so you're just going to come at me with the best you got, and hopefully you win.
Yep.
So let's fast forward to after December 1st, 2023, it's going to look something like this. I've got the listing. I'm going to have a conversation with my seller and saying, we have a choice. We can either disclose the price, the conditions, the deposit, basically anything in the offer except the personal identity of the buyer.
Bingo. Yeah.
And do you want to take that route, or do you want to keep it where we don't say nothing? So you still have the option to say nothing.
Yep.
You know, still have some sediments of Reba in us, but you also have the option to open it. Me personally, I'm going to start advising my clients to disclose all of that because I think you're going to attract more people when you have an open and transparent way of doing it.
I agree with that.
The market will do what the market will do. I don't know if it's going to be the best strategy, but I'm definitely one I'm going to want to implement when the market improves because I don't think there's very many multiple offers happening
right this moment.
Right this moment. Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I agree with you, and I think we're moving in the right direction of giving the choice to the seller,
absolutely,
and giving a choice to the client because it should be their choice really at the end of the day.
Absolutely, and I think as long as we explain it properly and they are aware of what the pros and cons are, let them make the decision and kind of run with it.
Yep. So here's a little caveat caveat. It's something that can be done, which is just good to know. Mm-hmm. You can have this conversation beforehand, and you can make a decision beforehand with your seller, but they can change their mind at any moment in time. Mm-hmm. So if you come to that agreement and you're telling all the agents that it'll be an open offer system, and on the day of you get that first offer, the seller can change his mind.
Okay, so I like the word caveat because it reminds me of caviar, and I like food. But I hate that this is an option. Yeah, it just further confuses it. It's like we're taking a step forward, saying yes, we should be open and transparent. Sellers, you have this right, and then we're saying, but you know what? Yeah. If you have a change of heart at the 11th hour, you could just be like, nah, I'm not going to disclose it. Yeah. So and I hope this doesn't happen, but what I can see kind of unfolding is you're adding back to that shady level of doing business.
I totally agree with you.
Where you've accumulated 5 people who are like, you know what, Mr. Seller, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I feel very comfortable that you're going to do an open, transparent system. And then you're like, nah.
Pull the rug.
Psych.
Pull the rug.
Yeah. We're actually not. Yeah. And I think that just taints the whole process. So I don't know. I'm sure there's probably some adjustments that will happen.
I was going to say this sounds like something that's going to get cleaned up down the line because it's too messy, and you can base your strategy in. You can still base your strategy in a very shady way if you wanted to,
which we don't condone or suggest.
Which it goes against the name of TRESA.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you. That's a very good, valid point. And you had a comment out that we were discussing about like, is this going to affect prices? Or that's kind of, I think, a common general feeling is like, what's this going to do to prices? Oh, sellers are not going to get as much as they were before.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't know if I agree with that either. They might just get the same amount. It's just you at least know what you're up against, and in the end, everyone feels cleaner about the process.
I agree with you. And sometimes people would hold off because they just didn't. They felt that they were getting played, and they didn't push their offer forward.
I agree.
That happened a lot of times, and a lot of bidding wars got lost that way. From my end for sure. That's. I don't know. I don't see the prices making that big a difference. Educated decisions when you're going through that offer process is still going to be an educated decision.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah, I think I think that's a good place to leave topic 1.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe shall we
yeah,
enjoy a beautiful Belle Espresso?
Let's do it.
Oh, you want some coffee? Oh, she's out.
She's out cold.
Now she's quiet. Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Oh, well brewed.
Yeah?
Well brewed.
Thank you. Kudos to me.
Kudos to you.
Yeah, thank you. All I did was turn a button on. But you know what? I'll take it.
What beans are these?
Same ones. We're still drinking the Bell'Italia ones from Bell'Italia.
Beautiful.
You have to always, if the word, it's just second nature. My mind just kind of raises my hand and it's a thing. Yeah. So, enjoy the beans.
Okay, so we're going to get into topic number 2.
Yeah.
Or big change number 2. This is also pretty big, and I think this should have been done ages ago.
Agreed.
This seems so obvious to me. Designated representation is what it's called.
Yeah. So we're getting into what's called multiple representation.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with multiple offers.
Yes.
Although they could happen, multiple representation could happen in multiple offers, but we're not going to complicate things. We're trying to really make this,
keep it simple.
This dry stuff very, digestible. So let's maybe talk about what's currently.
Yeah. So multiple representation. So let's talk about multiple representation right now. So it happens when one brokerage represents more than one party in one transaction.
Beautiful way of saying it.
Yeah. Nice and simple. It's like the most common examples are, I'm an agent, I represent a listing, and a buyer comes along, and I now represent the listing client and the buyer client, and I double end the deal. Mm-hmm. That's multiple representation. Mm-hmm. The second most common, I guess we'll say, is, which I guess a lot of people probably don't know this, or I definitely didn't know this before I went through this stuff. 2 different agents in the same brokerage, if they represent a buyer and a seller, it's still multiple representation.
Correct. Because your agreement is actually with the brokerage, not the individual salesperson.
Yes, that's the key indicating factor. So if you sign a buyer's representation agreement or a listing agreement with a buyer or seller, I also represent them because I'm with Sage.
Yeah, that's right. So the big company is representing both clients, which effectively creates multiple representation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the way that business is truthfully run is we are separate agents. We do separate business. So this is where the change really comes into play. And what happens, before we get into what happens is once multiple representation gets put into play, you as an agent are no longer allowed to give advice on like key factors.
Correct. Which makes our job, like, what's our value at that point?
Exactly.
You've hired us to give you advice or to guide you in a certain direction. And now because we've entered multiple representation and one brokerage is representing both sides, technically, I'm supposed to just shut up and present the offer.
Yep.
I don't know. I never felt...
It feels weird. And it is awkward.
Yeah.
Like you can't discuss motivation. You can't discuss where price should go in at, what you should accept. All of it you become a mute and you just have to say, here's what's happening.
Yeah.
Which is, that takes away what an agent does.
Yeah. It totally diminishes our value.
Yeah.
And I would say in theory, that's what's supposed to happen. But I think in the realistic side of working, I know most agents will, advise their client, hey, I think we should ask for more or do this or do that. Like, it's just second nature. And I don't know how one would actually govern that. Yeah. But they clarified it, which is really good. So this kind of is a simple fix for a complicated problem.
Yes. And all parties do need to agree to this. So before that actually takes place, it's not like it just happens.
That's a good point. So we actually had a deal this year that you and I represented the seller, you had the buyer, it was multiple representation. And we both had a talk with our clients individually and say, here's the pros and cons. If you decide to work with this offer that's represented by another agent in our company, who's, technically looking out for the best interests of the buyer, but because they work at my company, it all becomes one.
Yeah.
Which is a confusing conversation.
It's weird, and it doesn't make logistical sense. It feels awkward and is awkward.
Yeah.
And
so let's just Men in Black, when they have that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
We're going to all that and just eliminate that crazy style of business because there is a new simple solution that we will all be having to follow in 3 weeks.
Yes, 100%. So designated representation, that's the name of it. That's the big name of it. But brokerages moving forward have the choice to kind of run their business in designated representation or brokerage representation, which is what we're doing now. Designated representation is an agent exclusively represents his or her client.
I'm going to clarify one thing. We actually can't use the word agent, I believe. We're supposed to use the word salesperson.
Oh, did that change? I thought realtor. No, I thought that changed.
I don't know. It's so, I always call myself an agent, but technically we're not agents. We're salespersons. The agent is, in our case, Sage Brokerage.
Right. Okay.
So I'm just splitting hairs here because I can see the comments of people like, actually, no, actually we get it. But you know what? We got a dog, we got coffee. Like,
this podcast is all about making things really complex and making it into simple English.
So I won't correct you anymore. So go on with that.
So designated representation, a salesperson.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Solely and exclusively represents their client. So if Mark has a listing and I bring a buyer to it, we are no longer in a multiple representation because I represent my buyer. He represents his.
Yeah. So essentially what they've said is, let's not assume that the brokerage is responsible for the rights and responsibilities of both parties. Let's let the individual salesperson guide each party as they see fit.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and let's just say this decision is not actually made by you or I. It's made by the big chief.
Yeah.
In our case, Larry, the owner of our company, would decide, I want my brokerage to either operate in this designated representation scenario or keep the old model of brokerage representation scenario.
Yep.
Or a hybrid of both.
Or a hybrid. Yeah.
Which again, like,
it's the things that they're going to type. I feel like they're going to type.
Yeah. It's kind of, I feel like this first rendition of things we're learning is a very loose and open blankety type of like, let's please everyone.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes you can't please everyone.
100%.
Let's tighten this up a bit so it's a lot more clear and streamlined.
Yeah. And not to confuse, but like the issue of having, one person sign a designated representation, one person sign a brokerage representation. It's like, so I represent your client, and because you've signed with a brokerage.
Yeah.
But I also represent just my client. So
my mind's already.
Where does the advice go? Yeah, how does that work?
Yeah. So what's good is I actually messaged Larry last night. I'm like, funny question for you, Larry. How are we? What's our status here? And he just wrote back in one word: designated.
Yeah.
Period. Like, don't even complicate it. We're going the right route. We're going to make it very simple. That if someone comes to your listing within our brokerage, they'll have their own representation and you'll represent your seller. And I think that's the right decision. I hope most companies follow a similar path.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Do we have any other thoughts about that?
Not really. I think we kind of covered it.
Yeah, that's yeah. So basically, if you want to buy a place, you're now going to get proper representation in a lot more scenarios than you would have under the old system of doing things.
Yes. And what feels right is now right, which is if you've worked a relationship and trust your agent, then that's the person who's going to be representing you, regardless of which brokerage they're with.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're making good progress here. We're moving along. I feel like we're doing a good job.
I'm all right with it. Yeah.
I'm going to give us a gold star.
Okay.
Yeah. And let's not mess up part 3.
This is all just fluff from here, man.
Okay, part 3. This is a little bit more advanced. It's not really something the common consumer, I think, is worried about when they're thinking about buying a house.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
But it still requires some explaining because it will be a new form and a new way of basically creating agency with your sales rep.
Yeah.
And it is. Take it away.
A self-represented party has come into existence.
Yeah. Which is like, oh God, why? Like, okay, so let's talk about this. The current REBA system, and we're going to use a buyer as an example. If you want to have us represent you as a buyer, you could either choose to be a customer of ours or a client of ours.
Yeah.
And it's our job to explain the 2 types of scenarios we can have. As a customer, we don't really owe a lot of duty or rights.
Yeah.
You're kind of just like, all right, I'll write up an offer for you, but I'm not really looking out for your best interests. As a client, we have what's called fiduciary duties.
Yes.
And we can't disclose motivation, offer, price. We have to keep everything they tell us confidential. There's a lot of extra steps we have to take when we're working with clients. And so the question I often get is, why the heck would I work with you as a customer?
9 times, like that's 100%. Yeah.
I could say out of the hundreds, if not thousands of deals I've done, only once have I not signed someone up as a client.
Yep.
And the reason that is when we're having these casual conversations, even if it's in advance of us working together, it's almost implied that you're a client because you've told me confidential things that you wouldn't want me disclosing to the seller's agent.
Yep.
And because of that implied step in the process, 99.99999% of the time, when we're working together, it's as clients.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And same thing. It's the same thing here. I've maybe signed one of them, and it was with a tenant situation.
Yeah.
I had found a tenant for my lease listing.
You were representing the landlord.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was like, well, of course, they're going to disclose stuff to me. That's how this process works.
Yeah.
So, and instead of not disclosing when I'm not. It was customer representation just made more sense.
Yeah. And that's the general framework when you would sign someone up as a customer. If I've got an open house, I'm representing the sellers. Someone comes off the street, I don't know them. My loyalty lies with the seller. I've kind of have invested time and I know a lot about them. I'm going to get my dog.
Yep.
Yeah. Come on. Come here, sweetie. Come on. Yeah, you never a dull moment on the Toronto Living's Real Estate Podcast show, is it?
But the light stayed on the whole time. So
well, because we got a dog walking around here. Come on. Come to your bed, sweetie. Come. It's okay. Yeah, she's not used to new spaces.
There you go.
Don't worry.
Get comfy.
There you go. You're right between Mark and Joey. Everything's all right. Yeah.
You're so cute.
She's a good girl. She's a really good girl. I should formally introduce. This is Chloe. She's from Texas. I call her Beyonce's cousin because Beyonce's from Texas. And she's so good. Like she's
calm demeanor.
She's a very good girl. Yeah. She was a rescue. When we found her, she wouldn't, or when my dad adopted her, she didn't play with balls. She wouldn't chase a stick. She had no concept of how to be a dog, like just kind of kept to herself and was scared of everything. And now she's like so loving. She chases squirrels. She loves playing catch, and she's a really good girl. Yeah. She's just dealing with separation anxiety because my dad's not with her. But she likes snacks. Yeah, okay. She ate a couple snacks.
And you're going to be a star now because you're on the Toronto Living's Real Estate Podcast.
Yeah, that should bump us up to like the 208th.
We're going to hashtag dog lovers.
Yeah, under the category of pets. Anyhow, getting back to the self-represented party thing. So now what they've essentially done is they've eliminated the option for someone to be a customer.
Yeah.
And they're saying, you don't necessarily have to be a client, but we're going to define you as purely a self-represented party.
So this is the big thing. I think it's just like mainly just to clarify. This is just to clarify confusion, basically. Because explaining a customer to anybody is extremely confusing. Yeah. So I think this just makes it very obvious of what's happening when you sign this. Or not sign this. Is it a form?
Yeah, you'd sign that your intention is to do this deal as a self-represented party.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. And it's just to not have a gray line of, is this guy representing me or not?
Yeah.
I'm officially doing this on my own.
Yeah.
Which makes sense to me. What was I going to say? There's something very specific that
they want us to know.
The way this works is that, like, with a customer, you're allowed to do services for your
correct
customer.
So under the old model, if you were a customer, we could still provide certain services for you.
Yes, you can ask for, let's say, the last few sales that have been in the neighborhood, and we can present that to you. We can't advise on price again, but there's little things you can ask for. But with the self-represented party, we can't do anything for you unless it directly or indirectly services our client.
Yeah. And TESA, can we call them TESA? We call them the overlords?
TRESA.
Yeah. Oh, man. Like the people who put this together were quite clear that now you are providing zero service to this self-represented party. Yeah. And the best analogy I heard to describe it is like, think about if someone goes to court and chooses not to use a lawyer for representation. Mm-hmm. It's a similar type of scenario. You're representing yourself. You got to figure all your stuff out and you're kind of running the show.
Yeah.
Why anyone would choose that path, I don't get it.
Me neither.
Especially when if you're working with a buyer's agent, you're not paying them anything.
No, that's the thing is it's not that when you take on the buyer side, you take on expenses.
Yeah.
You don't. So why not just choose to get represented? Go ahead.
The scenarios they were saying was like, if it's a private organization or a charitable company, even still, like what? I don't know. I think this whole thing is, I guess it's a necessary step in the overall process of trying to make the real estate industry a lot more transparent and trustworthy. But this is not going to impact people on a very large scale. I think it's more just a admin clerical thing and another step we have to describe to people so they understand how we work together. Yeah. But in terms of the overall process, most people will still choose the client path and nothing will really change.
I agree. Yeah, it's the thing. It's like they're big changes, but they're also, with the reality of the day-to-day workings, I feel like with the exception of the open offer, I think that's the
big one.
That's the real heavy hitter.
Yeah, that's the big one. And I kind of wish they kind of just put all their energy in really getting that in a nice, clean lockdown position. Yeah. The multiple representation too is pretty worthwhile.
I think so too. It makes our lives just make way more sense.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that the change did come.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's like a couple other small things like about lock boxes and stuff like that. But again, these are more on our end, but there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out and maybe we'll revisit this in 6 months if changes do come to this one. But what I'm concerned about is there's a lot of change happening in the real estate industry right now. We're switching over to a new MLS system. which I find incredibly hard to use. It's not really intuitive. There's lots of bugs in it, and that's going to impact the service that clients are going to be getting. And now we also introduce TRESA, as well as new forms related to TRESA. And new ways we have to present and sign and sell those forms. I think a lot of realtors are going to be packing it in.
I didn't even think of it that way.
Oh yeah.
I didn't think of it that way. It is a lot of change and very quick.
In a very short period of time. The next like 3 months are going to be very tumultuous.
Yeah.
Is that a good word?
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of change coming. And I think I guess what I'm saying is if you're going to be buying in the next 3 to 6 months, pack a lot of patience because we're going to be figuring a lot of stuff out.
That's fair. Yeah. Fair to say.
Yeah. Are you excited about this?
You know what? I am.
Yeah,
I am. I'm okay with the change. So everything was still kind of fresh. I'm still in the my brain is a sponge right now.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna call you Joey the Sponge. That's your new nickname, Joey the Sponge. Well, no, it's a good point because you've been doing this for now what, 2 years, 2.5 years,
2.5 years.
So it's not a huge change for you. For me, it's like, oh my God, I'm going to have to like redo so much of the templates, the emails we send out, the presentation processes. There's going to be a lot of behind the work change that we have to do. And I feel like we're pretty much on the ball with this.
Yeah.
What's the other 88,000?
100%.
That's what scares me.
100%. Especially if anybody's seen a peek into what our MLS system looks like, you can tell it was, there are still some very, very, I'll say veterans, a lot of veterans that have been using that system. Yeah. And once that change comes to flip to the new.
Yeah, it's going to be, there's a lot. Yeah. So we'll probably be talking about this quite a bit or referencing it in the future episodes of like what life is like as a realtor, especially in 2024, because we got a down market, a new MLS system, changes to the fundamental ways we do business. Yeah. Like this, I don't know, man. We got to do some morning meditations, a lot of them. Okay, this is good. I think this really sums up the meat and potatoes of TRESA.
That's it.
And I am excited too. I welcome change.
All right, I'm again. Yeah,
cool.
Optimism.
Yeah. Well, what else are you gonna do?
Optimism Prime today.
Can't cry. Optimism Prime. Optimism Prime. I like that. I like that a lot. Shout outs?
Shout outs. Smoking Bones.
Smoking Bones.
Smoking Bones shout out. Man.
Smoking Bones. That also sounds like a good rock band.
It's the vibe in there is like so damn good.
Yeah.
And they play old blues music. Yeah. Like classic blues music.
Yeah. The Three Kings. Do you know what the Three Kings are?
But BB King.
That's one.
Who would the other two be?
Freddie King.
Okay.
And I'm making this one up, but Chris King. But there are three Kings. I don't know if his name's Chris King, though. But I know Freddie King quite well. I don't know him personally well, but I think a lot of his music, yeah.
No, I actually have heard of,
yeah, Chicago
Chicago
blues, yeah.
I like it.
I love blues. Oh, we should go. We should go there one day.
Yeah, we should. Honestly, yes, we should.
Yes. Shout out Palma Pasta.
Palma
Pasta, yeah. Feeding Joey for 32 years.
That's right, man.
I love it. I love it. I want to shout out the Sage crew who took us out for a dinner.
Yep.
Oretta. Is there more to Oretta? Is it like Oretta, like the Keg Steakhouse? Is it like Oretta Fine Italian Dining, or is it just Oretta?
I think it's just Oretta.
All right, shout out Oretta.
Shout out Oretta.
Yeah. And then we actually stopped at the Keg. I want to shout out.
Oh, Taka.
Yeah. So we walked up. We were at Oretta on King Street, which is more like quick jaunt from where you live.
Yep.
So we decided to walk back up to your place after the dinner, and it was a little cold that night.
It was. Yeah.
So I had an idea of let's go in for a shot at the Keg Steakhouse.
Yeah, we did.
And Taka, who is a watcher of the show. Observer of the show.
Observer.
Yeah. I hate when they're like a follower. No, we're not your messiah. We're your friend. Yeah, follower of the show. Shout out Taka.
Shout out Taka.
Yeah.
Shout out the Keg.
Shout out the
Young
Keg.
and Eglinton.
Yeah.
Taka. And Tino. Why not? Yeah, Tino.
Oh, Tino.
We saw Tino on the way.
Yeah, Tino. Yeah. So yeah, we didn't know that. We have a mutual friend at the Keg, and Tino. Yeah. And then you took me back upstairs to try Romanian.
Moonshine. Romanian moonshine.
I gotta tell you, man. It was good.
Hey, I woke up the next morning. I was like, what I realized is I fed you moonshine when you came in. First thing you tried.
You definitely fed me moonshine. This is my first time visiting your crib. Yeah. And first thing Joey offered me was homemade moonshine. Call it bathwater.
Yeah.
It had a lot of funky taste going on.
Yeah.
But you know what? The next day, my stomach pains were gone.
It's a cure-all, man.
It's a cure-all, or it absolutely numbed my entire nervous system. Yeah. Either way, I ain't mad. So that was quite good. Do you have a name for that stuff?
No, I don't. This was Nick Lenetsky from CI Realty.
Nice.
Used to work with prior to us working together.
Yeah.
This comes from his side. So there's no name for it. They do sell it, I think, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think you can buy it like by the barrel.
From him?
from their family or from his wife's family.
I don't think we should be advertising that. I feel like the liquor control board is going to shut us down.
They can no, it's like they can just let you try it from
they can let you try it. And if you decide to leave a 20 on the table and they take it, hey,
who knows? Yeah.
Not legal advice, but that was really good. Maybe I will give a charity donation to his family in exchange for a bottle of the Romanian. Is it Romanian?
Yeah.
He's Romanian. Yeah. It was good.
His wife's Romanian. Yeah.
His wife's Romanian. Yeah. It was good. I think that's it for shout outs.
That's it.
Yeah. Are we going to do one more podcast before you go, or are you?
We should. Yeah.
Do you want to do one while you're away? I don't want to bother you while you're away.
We can
discuss.
Yeah, we can discuss.
I got to see what these pink shorts look like, and then that'll decide if it's something I want.
I'm going full shirtless. We're going on Bahama Mama, pink shorts, shirtless,
and Carapainha.
Carapainha.
Oh, I can't wait to see you pronounce it to these poor people down there. Listen, bud, I want a crema gabagoo.
Go good Italian on them. Gabagoo.
Give me a gabagoo. It's from Brazil. All right, we'll wrap it up there.
That sounds good.
Enjoy the show.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Toronto Livings Real Estate Podcast. You could find more information on how we work over at torontolivings.com. Be sure to sign up for our newsletter to get price reports from over 150 different neighborhoods in the city each and every month.
If you got any value, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And if you made it this far, thanks for listening.